Welcome to Noakes Group. We are pleased that you'll be joining our team. This video accompanies the employee induction booklet. Please watch this video, then review the booklet before completing the induction quiz, which needs to be submitted on your first day of employment. Noakes has a number of boatyards on the east coast where we perform repairs and maintenance on all types of boats, from state-of-the-art racing yachts to commercial craft including ferries and navy vessels. Our operational hours are 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday and 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Saturdays. The relevant workplace addresses are outlined on the induction booklet. On-site parking is reserved for customers. If you will be working at our main site in North Sydney and intend to use public transport, the nearest train stations are either North Sydney or Waverton. Most of our other sites have staff parking available adjacent to the boatyard. Noakes will provide you with work t-shirts. You will need to provide your own pants, sun hat, enclosed shoes and wet weather gear if required. Shoes may be removed only whilst on the deck of a boat or in the cabin. Depending on your role, and particularly if you are a tradesperson, you will be required to supply your own hand tools. Each site has toilet and shower facilities that you may use as required. At the North Sydney site, public toilets and showers are situated at the rear of the administration building. If you wish to shower, please provide your own towel and toiletries. Each member of staff will be provided with a locker where you can store your possessions. Please refrain from bringing valuables to the workplace. Each site has a smoker room containing a fridge, kettle, coffee and tea. Please bring your own cup. Wages are paid fortnightly on a Thursday into the account that you nominate. The induction booklet details the Noakes policies. Please take the time to read these. Here are some of the main points. Health and safety. All employees, contractors and customers are expected to follow safe work practices, observe company safety rules, and report hazards, incidents or near misses by completing a hazard or injury report and giving it to management. We consult our employees through holding regular toolbox talks and providing appropriate training and supervision to ensure work is conducted in a safe manner. The environment. Given our close proximity to the surrounding waterways, we have a commitment to minimising our impact on the environment. We have work practices in place to ensure that there is no runoff to the ocean. Note that sanding, scraping and the application of paint directly over the water is not permitted at any time. No materials or water is to spill over the edge of the hardstand. When working on the slipway, underwater hull work must always be done above the tide line, and if the tide line is above the catchment drain, suitable bunding must be put in place. The catchment drain must be pumped out before the tide line crosses the drain. Quality control. Noakes has a reputation for providing top quality work in rigging, painting, shipwright and yard services. We consistently strive to exceed our customers' expectations. All work must be inspected by the appropriate manager before the boat is returned to the customer. If you are ever unsure of the correct way to do something, please check with your supervisor. Sexual harassment, discrimination and bullying are not tolerated. We ensure all recruitment procedures are based on equity regardless of gender. Noakes have procedures in place to deal with bullying and harassment, and any reports will be investigated promptly and confidentially. We have a great team and we strive to ensure there is a friendly environment in the workplace to make it an enjoyable place to work. Injury management. We are committed to preventing injury in the workplace. However, in the event that a worker, customer or contractor is injured on site, management must be notified immediately, even if treatment is not required. An incident report form available from the office shall be completed. If a worker requires medical treatment, we work with the company's medical consultant to develop a return to work program. This ensures that any injured employee can return to work as soon as possible, either in their usual role or suitable alternate duties until they are fit to return to their normal role. Drugs and alcohol are prohibited on site. Due to the potential safety risks, employees have a responsibility to ensure they are not impaired by drugs or alcohol at work. A breach of this policy will lead to disciplinary action, which may include dismissal. Management is required to confidentially take appropriate action, including testing, if a staff member is suspected to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Smoking is permitted during breaks only under the awning beside Shed 1 or in the crow's nest upstairs from the administration building. MP3 players and the use of headphones may impair your capacity to perform your job safely and are not permitted during work. Mobile phones should only be used appropriately for work-related matters and not whilst operating machinery or near dangerous or flammable goods. Personal protective equipment needs to be worn to prevent injury. Mandatory items to be worn at all times include enclosed shoes, a Noakes shirt, and SPF 30+ sunscreen available from the storeroom or shed too. In addition, PPE charts display the appropriate equipment that must be worn when undertaking specific tasks listed on job cards. Noakes provides the following PPE. Eye protection, safety goggles or glasses to be worn when sanding, grinding, chipping, drilling, or handling dangerous chemicals. Hand protection, gloves to be worn when handling dangerous chemicals, operating, rotating, or reciprocating machinery, and when cleaning or material handling. Hearing protection, earplugs or muffs to be worn when passing through or working in areas of high risk such as near grinders or trimmers. Respiratory protection, respirators when required by the nature of the work. Walk only within proper walkways and avoid shortcuts through dangerous areas. Be aware of travel lift and mobile crane movements at all times. You are strongly encouraged to wash your hands before eating. All staff are responsible for maintaining a clean and safe working environment. Scrap material must be disposed of in the correct container, such as solvent-soaked rags to be placed in the designated metal bins inside the anti-foul and resin sheds. Compressed air may only be used inside the sheds. The area around machinery is to be kept clear of obstructions at all times, and materials and equipment shall not be placed in walkways, access areas, or in areas blocking fire or emergency equipment. When working above the ground, do not drop or throw anything to a lower level. Use handrails, safety barriers, or stanchions where possible, and always ensure you have one hand free to protect yourself. While on board vessels, never walk outside the guardrails. With A-frame scaffolding, if working above shoulder height or above the yellow indicator lines, you must use double planking and plank clamps. If working at a height above 2 meters, you are required to wear a safety harness attached to a strong point or safety line. If using a ladder, ensure it is without defect. An unsafe ladder should be tagged and reported immediately. Ladders shall be secured at the top and placed on solid foundations. The angle of inclination should not exceed 4:1 or 75%. Scaffolding must be erected by a suitably qualified person. Where scaffolding is over 1.5 meters high, special precautions may be implemented. Vehicles and mobile plant are frequently in use. All operators need a valid license or certificate of competency and shall be familiar with the operation of the vehicle or plant. The driver is responsible for the safe operation and for ensuring that all pre-start routines are conducted and safety and warning devices are present and operational before use. Importantly, all staff in the vicinity of an operational crane are required to wear hard hats. Do not walk under a crane load and ensure that suspended loads are never moved over the heads of personnel or left unattended. Hazardous materials and chemicals are to be used in accordance with the materials safety data sheets, which are stored inside the anti-foul and resin sheds. These outline the proper work practices for each substance. If you are unsure, consult your supervisor. Chemical spills to the skin or eyes should be treated and reported immediately. There is an eye wash bay inside shed 3. Chemical spills to the ground should be cleaned up straight away. Only licensed tradespeople are permitted to repair electrical equipment or wiring. All electrical lines are to be treated as live unless there is a positive indication that the power is off. Portable electrical equipment, such as extension leads and power boards, should have current inspection tags attached. Do not allow water or rain to lay on electrical equipment. Cover it or lift it up. Make sure that any extension cords running through the workplace are safely suspended off the floor by hooks or wires. In the case of an electrical emergency, never touch someone who is captivated by an energized electrical circuit. Turn off the power source or use non-conductive materials such as dry wood to separate the person from the source. Isolation tags are attached to equipment that is not suitable for use. An out-of-service tag isolates equipment that is likely to endanger the safety of users or equipment. Danger tags are attached to equipment that strictly must not be operated. When using compressed air, always make sure that cylinders are chained upright, their valves are shut when not being used, they are stored on flat surfaces away from heat sources and at least 6 metres away from flammable substances, and that the cylinders are only lifted in cradles or approved slings. All fuel gas cylinders must be fitted with a flash back arrestor at the torch end. Oxy fuel gas cylinders cannot be taken inside vessels at any time. Only the cutting handpiece and hoses are permitted inside a confined space. Never attempt to grab an air hose that is snaking due to uncontrolled air escape. Always turn the hose off at the source. Never direct compressed air at yourself or another person, and don't use compressed air to blow away dust. Hot work is defined as any work that produces a spark or flame, including welding and mechanical grinding. Before starting hot work, particularly on Navy vessels, you must obtain a hot work permit from the office or supervisor. A sentry is required for any hot work occurring on vessels, and where possible, welding screens should be put in place to protect nearby personnel from flash. Suitable PPE must be worn at all times by welders and their assistants. Avoid standing on wet ground when using an electrical arc welder. Use a piece of timber or rubber as insulation against earthing. All gauges, hoses, connectors and torches shall be checked for defects before use. Isolate the area before welding by removing any flammable liquids, gases and combustible materials such as rags or paper. Ensure appropriate firefighting equipment is available and never let sparks fall on oxy-fuel cylinders or hoses. Remember to check for any combustion at the end of shift. When working outdoors, prevent skin cancer by applying sunscreen, available from the storeroom or shed 2, wear a hat, and where possible, construct a temporary shelter to provide shade. Whenever you are using power tools and machinery, always use the correct tool for the job. Only use tools that you have been trained to use and know the safety requirements. Safety guards on equipment must be used at all times. The operator must ensure that all belts, pulleys, gears and moving parts within 2 metres above the floor are guarded prior to operation. Suitable eye protection shall be worn at all times when operating revolving or reciprocating machinery, and do not wear loose-fitting clothing or jewellery. Confined spaces are enclosed or partially enclosed spaces which have restricted means of entry and exit. They may have an atmosphere which contains potentially harmful levels of contaminant or cause claustrophobic reactions. This may include ballast or fuel tanks and some small spaces inside vessels. Be aware of the potential dangers and have a buddy remain outside the space to keep watch if working in a confined space. Incorrect methods used in handling materials cause the greatest number of workplace accidents. When manually handling materials, ensure that you lift loads within your lifting capacity and use correct lifting practices. Keep a straight back, lift with your legs, avoid twisting, and keep the load close to your body. Wear gloves if necessary. Use mechanical aids or get help to lift heavy loads. Noise should be kept to a minimum as much as possible. Power tools, hand tools and machinery are permitted to be used between 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday and 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Saturdays. Outside those operating hours, including Sundays, noise is prohibited. That includes machinery noise, loud radios and excessive hammering. Damage to hearing caused by noise exposure is irreparable. If you must raise your voice to be heard by someone standing 60 centimetres away, you should be wearing hearing protection. If you are working within 15 metres of chipping, grinding, hammering or abrasive blasting, you must wear hearing protection. Earplugs are available from the storeroom. Flammable materials and liquids should only be stored in approved areas. Only the amount necessary for one day's work should be kept aboard vessels or in other work areas. Fire hoses are located around the hard stand and there are fire extinguishers in each shed. Take the time to identify these. There is no expectation that employees should put themselves in danger in case of fire. However, everyone should ensure there is sufficient access to all areas should evacuation or firefighting be necessary. Whenever a fire extinguisher is used or discovered to have a broken seal, please report it to the office. All emergencies such as fire, dangerous spills or injuries are to be reported to a supervisor or the office straight away. A supervisor will determine whether the situation can be made safe or if evacuation is required. When reporting an emergency, calmly state the type of emergency, your location and name, the area or person affected, whether emergency services are required, and whether evacuation is advisable. An emergency phone is located in Shed 2 should emergency services be required. In the case of fire beyond your control, evacuate the area and alert other personnel as you go. The evacuation meeting point is located in the car park. Job cards show the boat details including name, type, size, arrival date and time. Each line on the job card is colour-coded depending on which department is responsible for the task. Tasks are listed in the order which they must be completed and also have a number which shows the corresponding personal protective equipment that is required to be worn. TimeMinder is the system we use to record your hours for both payroll purposes and for recording labour hours to invoice customers. To clock on at the beginning of the day, scan the barcode next to your name on the In column, scan the job card of the boat you will be working on and scan the activity you will be doing. Once this activity is complete, you need to change tasks according to the job card. To change tasks, scan your name, scan the job card and scan the activity you will be doing now. To clock off, scan the barcode next to your name on the Out column. Don't forget to clock out when you stop to have lunch and back in again at the end of your lunch break. If you make an error, just let your supervisor know. Some employees may be required to complete manual timesheets. Recording your time using a timesheet is fairly straightforward and requires the same diligence when recording tasks through TimeMinder. Please take the time to flick through the last few pages of the Induction booklet, which include a map of the work base at the North Sydney site and some flowcharts demonstrating the job management process as well as the Noakes Group Code of Conduct. Thank you for watching. Now please review the Induction booklet and complete the quiz. Remember to take on your first day the completed quiz, your tax file number, bank account details and super fund details if you have one. We look forward to having you on board.